I made this mower from scrap. So yeah, this past week I was out in the yard, out in the laydown yard, in the garden, and I went through so much stuff. I actually showed that on my live stream this past Saturday, and I made a mower from scrap. So if you want to see what I did, how I did it, we did a number of things. I had the flywheel, I took the flywheel off, had a sheared key, had a whole bunch of stuff. Be in chapters, check it out. Coming up in this video, mower from scrap. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's tucked in there pretty good. This is one where the shaft is all messed up. Somebody gave it to me. They messed it up. They messed the shaft up. The body's nice. The motor, I think the shaft is messed and it's bent. We could use the body. All these are all modular. There's gears in these front wheels, so the wheels look like they're okay. They would have fit that guy over there. And I'm not going to fool with a shaft that's messed up. You could save that body, but I have other bodies. Well, you can kind of see underneath. It's not bad. I rinsed it just quick with the hose and rinsing a few things. This is the whole front assembly, which if you wanted to, you could put on something. I may keep it. The tires are in great shape. The motor is beat. I don't know if you can see it over here, but there's a lot of scoring here. They probably hit something. So they banged into something. It scored it. I think it bent it. So we'll throw the motor out. And this you could keep. It's in pretty good shape, but you need all of that. And you need the handle assembly, which I don't have a handle assembly for this. I'm going to go rinse it. I have handle assemblies, but not the double poles for this kind of setup. They're a little bit more rare to find and come across. Like I said, these things don't hold up. But I do have another front that should match those rear tires or something to that effect. We could even switch those tires. I got another machine over there, but it depends upon what I have laying around that I can just grab. So I'll go rinse this off real quick, throw out the motor. All right, this is the one from this morning, right? I cleaned everything up, put a bit of super clean. These are some tires. Don't forget to put grease on these guys, on these shafts, especially in the front. They will jam up and you ain't getting them off. You're gonna burn them all up trying to heat it. Anyway, a little super clean. This came out of inventory, this piece here. That came nice. Craftsman front end. A little better rims, tires. I got a handle. Let's go put the handle on. And then there's engines, but that we can get to later. And I got the bag, so I'll just put this immediately to the side. And this is going to be one of the next projects. All right, it comes with bag. Pop a motor on it. I know it's got this little extra hole there or whatever, but who cares? What a piece of shit. All right, but that was easy though. So this motor's around. There's tons of them over there, but I might actually have the correct E-Series motor for it. So I'll find that another day. Look familiar? All right, I went shopping outside. I was looking for motors. The first one I picked up was sitting around forever. And it was all jammed up, and it didn't work out. It was too far gone. And then I grabbed this one from my inventory around back. I gave it a quick cleaning with some super clean. I threw some paint on it. I took the coil off. I checked in here. It doesn't look bad, but I'm seeing a bit of, you're probably not really going to see it, but it looks like it deflected a little bit. So got the bigger shaft. So there's probably no damage to the motor or anything. We're going to pop this off. We'll do compression tests, do all of that. Spark test. But I already cleaned off the magnets. I cleaned off these areas here. And I cleaned the shaft up too while I was here. And one of these came up out of the ground as I was cleaning up, looking almost like that. So that will go on there, nice. Yeah, we got some parts here, coil. Carburetor I have, that one looks good. I went through two, picked the best one, threw out the rest. Now I have others of these already, but this is the one with this like sort of star, not the star pattern, but that other pattern that's used for these newer MTDs. Let's just see if we can pull it off. This was the defunct motor. I like these. These are the Pitman arm pullers, but they work great for this because you can hold the clamp in place with the bolts if you wish. Probably should heat it. I'm on medium. It's close. Can we just maybe sneak it a little bit more? Let's see. I'll pull a little bit more and I should be able to knock it off with a hammer. Yep, see, that's it. Okay. We'll clean that up a little bit, throw that back out, but this is the correct blade type. And this is in decent shape. Like I said, I have more. I do take them from time to time, but this is the time. All right, getting ready to put it on, so I've been prepping it, but the last step is we're just gonna run the tap in, because these threads get all kind of gooled up, and they use a cutting style bolt. And we want to make sure we've cleared out any of the debris in there. And it just make it easier to put everything together again. Make sure the threads are clean. I'll blow this out. And also too, here, you know, this is the secret sauce. Put a little bit on that seal. And we can even put a little bit on the whole thing. We'll put some oil on that. You can put no-seas too. But yeah, let me just blow that out. We have other stuff to conceal the crap. Alright, I took the strap that I had on here off and lubed up the cable, cleaned it so the cable works, but I want the brake on because it's just going to make it easier. So these are already pre-drilled, so I'm going to use a 1/4-20. I'm going to start off with a standard tap, right, that's self-guiding for the most part. I'm going to run this in, and then when I'm done, I'll blow it out, and then I made a, you could just buy, but I made like a flat bottom tap here. Run that in, and then I'll show you what I'm doing next. What's nice is I've got the coil off. I cleaned it already, so we'll put that back. And oh, did I get a little paint on that? Ugh. All right, we'll have to run that in and out a few times. I didn't mean to paint that. Usually it's not a problem because it's in this cover, but it got pulled out of the cover. I did that. It didn't want to go. So we got to fix that. And now you can get a better look. See it? It's just cocked a little bit, but that can do it. So now we're going to pull the bail back. And I'll tie it back up there with my Velcro. And we can assemble the puller. This is a KD tool, so it's a flat bottom style puller, you know, 2-slot. And on some of these motors, there is no countersunk for something that's conical to go in there and center it. It's a flat top. So when that is the situation, I'll use this. Now we're going to put some pressure on it, and if it doesn't pop, then we're going to have to heat it. But we're going to need pressure on it anyway, so we'll just start by putting some pressure on. Oh, it came right up. So you see, we'll be able to get in there and take a good look. And now we can make sure. I'll bring it back in a minute. There's a slight indent. We'll peel that off in a minute. We're just going to wire wheel this, clean this up, clean the slot up. You know, blow it off, get rid of any junk. Make sure that there's no movement here, but you can see there isn't. If there was a lot of movement here, this would all be covered in grease. So we'll pull that out. We'll take a look at that in a minute. All right, here's the KD tool. It's K-D2291. This was one that was made in USA. So 1/4-20. And you could see here, you could actually see it. See that end? So this is the good one. I'm going to just run that across on the file. Oh, sorry, that air compressor popped on. And then let me show you what I want to put in there. Let me shut the air compressor off. Here's just a close-up of it. You can see it started to move, and that's enough. That's a few degrees. You know, when we build custom cars, those couple of degrees, we have keys that go on the crankshaft pulley or on the cam, and you may only advance or retard a few degrees like that, just a couple of degrees, and it makes a world of difference. So this we'll just kind of drag back and forth on there a bunch of times just to make sure it's okay. And again, to kind of clean up in there, I'll show you real quick, but we're just going to use a cartridge roll. Now this is all used equipment. If this is really damaged, I do have others, but it's not. You can tell when you get them cleaned up. That one's got a little bit of a lip, so you want to make sure you put this down straight and that it's all clean. We'll clean underneath, but this one's pretty clean. We'll just wipe it out because I already cleaned it and pressure washed it. Let me show you. So again, I just pulled one of these off on my cleanup, spring cleanup. So I have another flywheel just in case, and another key that was in good shape. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show you what I do. I don't have time right now, but there is another video out on that, the barbarian method. But we just want to make sure that there's no burrs, because it is a used key. These are cheap, but like I said, because I go through so many of these things. So in here, just quick, and mostly on the edge where there might be a burr, where it turned. Yeah. This one is a little damaged. If not, I have another one. Now, I oiled the shaft, but with my tranny fluid sauce, and then I wiped it and blew it. And Honda, when you assemble these on a Honda new, or if you have to pull it off for some reason, they tell you no oil, just get the shaft clean. So the little bit of residual oil and fuel that's in here isn't going to be a problem. But let me get you in a little closer. And you can see there, it's slightly damaged. See it? It is just ever so slightly. All right, let's put it on. So just a quick wire wheeling, blow it out. I hit it with my tranny sauce and then wiped everything down, give it another blow. And now let's put on the flywheel and align the key, and I'll show you that. So you want to make sure, now I put this in widthwise. You want to make sure it's in widthwise, and I left it a little bit proud just to show you. But you can see I just pushed it down with my finger. If you have to tap it in lightly. It should go, it shouldn't have to force it. So now this is all lined up. Absolutely perfect. Now we can put the nut down and blammo it on. There is a torque spec, but I usually just put that on low. I don't know what to tell you. Go look it up. There is a torque spec for it. It would probably be pretty high, and you would need to lock the flywheel. But the best way to lock the flywheel is to put the blade on, lock the blade, because if you try to lock it here, you might break a fin. And even when you're trying to take it off, if you don't have one of those impacts, lock it by the blade and not by the flywheel, all right? Because you don't want to damage it if you don't have another one. I have others, but you may not. All right, finger tight. All right, it locks on the taper because it's a tapered shaft. And I took my wire brush and I went over this here, this little area, grounding area, and that's what it's doing, it's grounding. And you're gonna wanna go over this area here. Let me show you. I'll get you in close. Because usually the paint and gook and junk, because you want it to shut off, right? Let me show you. See, right there. And now, when this comes back, when I let go of the bail, it will ground. And so these are cleaned off. I've already got the coil cleaned up. This is the other one. That one should be pretty clean. We're going to put that on to 12 thousandths and 10 to 12 thousandths, and that should be good. Now you want to tighten these. They're almost always loose. Let me show you. That'll make you think you got a vacuum leak. Ain't loose. Yeah, this one was very loose. That's enough. Check for cracks. They often crack. That'll make you think there's something wrong with the carburetor. It will cause a vacuum leak and you'll have issues. Let me put the coil on, and the next thing we'll do is we'll tighten, especially around here. Just going to hand tighten these. All right, I got my 12 thousandths in there. I just kind of tightened that up a little bit, just snugged it. Got my 12 thousandths brass gauge in there, and a little bit of lubricant on the threads. I'll try to stay out of your way, but we'll just kind of loosen that up, let it suck in. Okay, give it a tighten. I'm going to go tighten it with my 1/4 inch drive, and you can just tighten it with this, but remember there's wafers in here, and those wafers need to be compressed. We don't want the coil moving, so just that's it, a snug. Now I want to just check, that's it, I just want to check the compression. Now normally I do that first, but that's on machines that I get in or whatever. Now a little out of sequence, I already put some tranny lube down in there, but we're going to put a little oil on those bearings. It's like a bushing, and they jam up. In fact, that other motor, this was all jammed. That's why you got to clean in here, get clean, clean, pressure wash. It's air cooled, and with automatic choke, this gets packed. So you want to make sure that springs. We'll adjust that later. I think I have a video out or coming out soon on that. And just so you can see this. All right, all tied back. Let me set you up with compression tester, and this was the plug that was in there. Not terrible, right? Was running okay. I'm going to put in a little bit of tranny sauce. Just usually I do this in the beginning, but we'll spin it over, with the drill as well. And I don't think there's any oil in it. I think I already emptied that, so we're going to put in some oil later. We'll put in some good used oil. Let's go check a couple of things first. All right, I'll yell it out. Let's see what we got for spark. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's spraying out a little bit of oil and water, which is good. That'll help chase all that stuff out. Yeah, she sounds pretty good. We got some good spark. Let's check our compression. There's some U in there that'll help loosen up the carbon. Oh yeah. I got up to 75. Not bad. So the juice that I put in there, if it were valves, it wouldn't make a difference. If there was a valve issue, it wouldn't change anything. If there's a little bit of issue with the cylinder walls or even rings, the juice that I put in there would actually raise the compression up a little bit. But at 75, that's pretty good. Briggs says 40 and under, you're like at 40, it's almost done. Even with the ACRs, especially for these older motors, these flatheads. So if you're over 40, like me, I'm over 40, you should be great. And then, of course, if you did it dry, but this, like I said, this has been sitting out. You don't really want to spin it over dry. So now let's do one more thing. Now, we can't test the kill yet. But, so these are usually over here, the head bolts by the muffler are usually loose. And you can torque it, but it doesn't pay. There's so much crap on the threads and on the shoulders of the threads that you won't get an accurate torque reading. Yep. That's good. Pretty good. This one was not bad at all. Yeah, this one was real good. All right, that's done. Let's get the carburetor on. All right, now because this is all pick apart, I'm doing things, largely out of sequence. So I found a good blade earlier this morning, and I cleaned it and sharpened it. And then remember earlier we grabbed that guy. I cleaned that off because you want to make sure this. If these get burred, a lot of times people don't put them on right. They get blunted and burred, and then of course the blade won't fit right. All right, so that's a problem. Remember, wing towards deck. So now all of this is going good. Normally I would check to make sure that there's no bend. So we have the plug out and the bail pulled back so we can spin this over and check it. But like I said, we're doing this sort of ad hoc, build as you go. We'll turn it up a little bit. I got to turn the air tank on. The air compressor's off. I'll use my thumb here. Just spin it over. Oh yeah, no issue. Now I'm noticing, see, that's loose, but this is why we check everything. So I'm going to go through my stuff. Make sure that's fitting on good. Yeah, this is sitting a little proud. Let me solve that problem. We check everything, because again, ad hoc. All right, that's it. That would have sounded like a rod knock or some kind of a knock in the engine. And it probably would have been loud and intermittent. So anytime you decelerated or accelerated, it probably would have made that sound. For sure, it would have made some kind of sound, but, you know, it's not correct. That's good now. All right, I got a carburetor rebuild that I picked up. I got the spring back. I got this back. Don't forget to clean this shaft a little bit with a little Scotch-Brite. Touch of lubricant. I like to adjust this out a little bit so that when it moves forward, now I also put a little bit of lube in there, and it moves straight. And then when it stops, your choke is open, and then we can release it, make sure that's going good. Okay, and we're gonna put the top on. I gotta put up a fuel line there. I got that guy. There's a bunch of stuff sitting around here that I cleaned up already. So let me take care of all of that. All right, fellas. I got a little bit of used synthetic oil in there from one of the girls' vehicles. You know, I clean it, I take it, I strain it. Because there's no oil in it, because I like to store them without oil. So we got some fresh gas in it, about 10 ounces or so. The choke should be on. Let's just give it a pull and let it, it's going to smoke a little bit, let it run. And everything is okay, and then we'll bring it in, we'll dump the oil, let it cool down, I'll find a hat for it, we'll do the final. Well, choke work. Yeah. That choke may have came off a little too early. Let it smoke. 3120. I just gave it a little bump. So it's running 3,000 almost exact. I just pulled this that way a little bit, you know, away, tightened the spring a little bit, and brought it up to about 3120. That sounds good. I'm just gonna let it smoke. Remember, I put a lot of lubricant on everything. Let it do its thing, let it cook off. Let it cool down a little bit, and then we'll change the oil and we'll run it again. I'll find a hat for it, and I got to get a filter. We'll get this thing cleaned up a little bit, and we'll be back. Put a little bit of well, mostly Valvoline high mileage 1030. So my guess would be what's in there, I don't know, maybe some stuff to swell up the seals, but then some 1540 Rotella off-road. This is diesel. And so the first line I did 1030, the next line is the diesel. I'll mix this up a little bit. I'll stir it up, put it in there. I'll check it. There might still be a little bit of oil left in there. You can't always get it all out, but that would be synthetic. It's an older motor, but it's in good shape. It runs good. I'll find the top for it and everything. We'll bring it up for one more start. One more run, start up and run, just to make sure everything's okay. It should run a little bit better with the filter on too.
All right, I spoke about these mower bodies, this brand of MTD mower. It's the newer style. I think it's been out about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years. It took over from like those nice black ones that were around. These mower bodies are crap. They're made of paper thin. They rust out, as you can see here. Just absolute crap. But as I said in the video on Saturday, and you can check that out, I'll put a link to that live video. I've been trying to shorten it if you want to check out. Good mower, good older mowers versus the newer ones. Bad. Good versus bad, I suppose you could say. And you could see a few of these kinds of mowers that I just threw out on there with the new E-Series engines, which, I collect some of the parts. So we put a nice Briggs flathead on it, which is a much stronger motor with a bigger shaft, much better motor. And that's what I dug out, and it came out pretty good, I would say. I put machines together and I repair them with good parts, usually like good old stock. It's not new old stock, it's just good old stock. And I did, like I said, I did this stuff a little bit out of sequence with it. I tend to do it a little different, and it was a last minute kind of thought. I said, why don't I just show putting a mower together from parts, which is not unlike how I would do it anyway. But it's parts, just a bunch of different parts. You see, I got those nice black wheels from another frame. And I just changed out the front drive assembly because I didn't have the handle with the double bail on it. I didn't have one. And I'm not going to make something for that. So you put together what you have. It's just a push mower. And you know what? It sold right away. I had two of them, actually. Kind of the same scenario. And this one was a little prettier. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Get out there and do something. It's a nice hobby, and you might make a few bucks. And if you collect stuff like I do, you can eventually, you put it all together, have something nice. And if you have too much, like I do sometimes, spring, you throw it out. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Arch's Garage.